There is a moment in every life when you decide to rise, to stand taller than your fear, to speak louder than your doubt, to chase the vision that sets your soul on fire. This is that moment. And here, we walk it together with stories that awaken, voices that inspire, and truths that set you free. This is Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where hope has a voice, and that voice is yours. And welcome to the show, everybody. Boy, I gotta tell you, Michelle, we got a show today, don't we know?
We do. I'd love for you to introduce her, but Kevin, I have to thank you first because today has been a day that we just is the whole reason we do this, and it's just phenomenal. Like, there's not even words I can put behind it. So thank you to the 2003 version of you who decided to start doing this.
Well, and Michelle, I got to tell you, we're going to come up with a whole new way of judging whether or not the show is good or not. And we're going to call it the cheek factor. No, not that cheek. The one's on your face. Because at one point or another, Michelle always says, you're making my cheeks hurt.
I'm at a 10. I'm already at a 10. So no more.
So in any event, we are very blessed because the star of Unscripted Politics is with us, and Dr. Shelley Jones Holt. She holds the show together. She makes it so listenable and with an opinion or two thrown in for fun. And so, Michelle, if we want to go to her website, how do we get that done?
Well, you make sure that you go to drshelleyspeaks.com, and that's SHELLEY speaks.com. She's got everything housed on her website, including a few things about coaching, keynotes, and retreats, which we'll talk about throughout the show.
And Dr. Shelley Jones Holt, welcome to my world. How are you?
I am ecstatic. I am so glad to be in Kevin's world. I feel like I've just traveled into the fun zone where we're going to make our cheeks hurt, our minds think, and our hearts happy. I'm so excited to be on Positive Talk Radio.
Well, and I have to tell you, because we are going to talk about your book, which the title of it is Speaking of Race, Where We Live, Learn, and Earn. It's actually a workbook so that you can learn a little bit about things you may not already know. But Dr. Shelley, and you don't know this yet, but I got to tell you, Michelle has got a multicultural family. Would you talk about that a little bit, Michelle?
Yeah, I've got cousins that are from Cambodia, and I've got a lot of Indian people who've been around me, lots of Hispanic people. I speak almost fluent Spanish still, not so much anymore, but there's so much culture in so many people. I've also come to learn that just because you have a lookalike of somebody else from another culture doesn't mean it's the same. And I think a lot of us look at each other with just this, maybe not even judgment. I won't go as far as to say that in a negative term, just maybe assumption of, oh, they're Mexican or this or they're that. But there's so many of us in so many different versions. And we kind of tie them all together. And sometimes it can be what divides us. And Dr. Shelley, you happen to know a lot about that.
I do. And I often think that it's our differences that unite us. It's society that attempts to divide us. And as people, oftentimes, you'll meet somebody new and you're curious. You want to know, like, hey, where are you from? What's going on? Like, I'm just curious. And this day and age, unfortunately, we are in a time right now that sometimes feels like we're in the twilight zone and we've, kind of traveled back, 100 years. But quite frankly, I'm very excited about this time right now. I feel like we are in a racial awakening, a racial reckoning. where people if you've ever been in school and you've been studying like the civil rights movement or the days when our African kings and queens were enslaved and lied to and stolen and bought and sold like cattle in this country. And I remember being in school going, I wouldn't have, I would have, or thinking that we would, where we would have stood.
Yeah.
And right now we get to really live that. And you don't have to ask what if. You get to ask yourself, what am I doing now? Where am I standing now? Would I've been one of the people cheering as they did horrible things to people and lynched them off of trees, and people would be eating sandwiches while this was happening, much like folks are watching TV right now and watching people being gunned down? And are you cheering that on and saying, well, they should have or could have? Or are you looking at this going, this is not quite what I signed up for, as far as what I thought civilized society was supposed to be, as far as what we believe that people who are cultured and organized and civilized would do? And we get a chance to actually ask ourselves those questions and answer them in this day and time. And for some, that's a little bit scary. And part of what I love to do, I have a gift of being able to bring people together. It was a gift that, quite frankly, I tried to fight for a very long time. I kind of wanted to stay in my own little bubble. And it wasn't until I became actually a school principal. And I was brought in before I became a principal, assistant principal. And they brought me up from being a teacher to a school that had a lot of racialized issues that were happening. This was back when the Latinos and the African Americans were in a lot of gang wars, and you had a lot of color wars. You had a lot of things that were going on. And because I am a Spanish speaking woman of African descent, I was one of the people that they brought in to be able to kind of smooth things over and help people realize that we have to figure out a way to ensure that schools are neutral zones. Our children do not need to be victimized or victims of whatever adult nonsense is going on. And it was something that I didn't think was a gift of mine until I realized that not everybody can do this. Not everybody can listen to folks who think differently. Not everyone can appreciate someone who lives or believes differently than they do, and still be able to listen with an ear of wanting to find commonalities, not wanting to be right. What I often say is, you can either be right or you can be happy. Which one do you want? And I want to be happy.
It's
That's
powerful.
perfect. By the way, Dr. Shelley, are you familiar with the gospel according to Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves?
What, rob from the rich and give to the poor? That
No,
one, or
no,
which one? Because I don't know
no.
where you go with this.
Morgan Freeman's character in that movie at one point said, wondrous variety. And that's what the human race is, a wondrous variety of all kinds of different people, different faiths, different culture. And we need to appreciate our differences and uniqueness rather than believe that it's the other, the one that we
Amen.
don't know. And so that I'm the work that you're doing is extraordinary, and thank you for doing it and putting it all together, because there have been moments when you've had to face certain things, and I don't want to go into it in depth, but let's just say that you had at one time police cars in front of your house because protecting you from the others, and it gives you a very
Yeah.
unique perspective, doesn't it?
It does. When I was superintendent of one of the largest districts in Michigan, it was time when, if I'm being totally honest, I could not do what was right. And what was right and what was popular was different. And interestingly enough, as we're talking about race, this was actually something that was helping most of the people who didn't quite understand the way that school districts and funding and such offered. But I will give you this, and might tell you a little bit about who I am as a human being, is that if I'm the leader of an organization and I have a married couple that is working for me in any way, shape, or form, regardless of which position they were in, because there were some positions, particularly our classified or, who would be considered our non-certificated workers, meaning, the cafeteria workers or our custodians, many of which who are at the lower socioeconomic and the majority of which identified as white. If I have two people that work for me and my organization, and those two people work 8 hours a day and give me their best, they should not have to be on government assistance to be able to afford to live. And I vehemently disagree with that. And that was the conditions when I entered my position. And so when I approached negotiations as the leader of that organization in a way that said, we're not going to hide money, we're not going to pretend like people don't need a living, we're going to ensure that the people of our community, the parents of the children that we say we're here to serve, can survive. And for some people, that was very unpopular because they believed, whatever lies created. But at my core, I didn't really care. Well, I didn't really know, honestly. I didn't care even, and I would read it today, do it exactly the same way to ensure that the people that work with me or for me as the leader of an organization can afford to live. And that upset some folks. And yes, I was under police protection for about a year afterwards because I would not hide money. I would not lie to people. I would not do some of those things that some of my predecessors and counterparts were willing to do. And this is what I mean by people not quite understanding sometimes the decisions that leaders make and what leadership means and what it looks like. And when you allow things like race or immigration status or sexuality or gender identification, all of which that people have a lot of opinions about, regardless of your opinions, that's a human being that deserves the right to an affordable life. And if they're giving you 8 hours a day, they should get a fair living wage. I firmly believe that. And so I wasn't going to compromise my principles just because some knuckleheads, were doing silly stuff. But I'm very grateful to our police force out there. They were amazing men and women who treated me and my family with the utmost respect. But that's part of the price we have to pay to sometimes do what's right when what's wrong would be much easier.
Well, and I have to tell you that you're in the presence, Dr. Shelley, of a former lunch lady at a middle school. And Brichelle, what was your experience of that?
I loved every moment of it. And I've had a lot of jobs, Dr. Shelley, all doing completely different things for any given reason. But the most meaningful job that I've ever had, because I don't consider this work or a job at all, but I got to leave there. And I believe that pushed me to find this and realize that there's purpose in my life, because each one of those kids who came in, just by acknowledging them and saying just one specific thing for a split second, just giving them food and smiling at them, I was impacting each one of those kids, and they were all impacting themselves and each other. And I thought to myself, a big part of it too was I always said I'm never sending my kids to public school because I don't really know what these adults are like and what's going on. But if I knew you were the principal, I would go to school right now. Like there's no, get your ass out of my bed and get in that school, go learn something. And for that, just the effect that has on the parents and the living and the children and all those things, specifically for me, I was doing like they would say the bottom line jobs. I felt like the principal because my job had so much meaning, and the principal treated us the same as him.
Yes.
So it changed the whole dynamic of everything I've ever learned about working, having a job, having a leader, a boss, co-workers. One of the guys who would come and work with us was he was in his 60s, and he had autism. He would ride his bike there. Happiest person I've ever met in my life, standing up next to Kevin, is crazy. And he volunteered. He didn't get paid to be there. He volunteered to be there with us and those kids, cooking those meals. It just, the empowerment of that is something that you never let go of. You know what I mean? And then it made me want to do it everywhere I go, because I had experienced it there, and I thought, why are people not living like this?
Especially when all the middle school kids were taller than she
Oh my
was. So
gosh.
she,
No, they're great.
Are you
And there's
fine
all different types
too,
of them,
Rochelle?
right? And I loved them and met them and talked to them as each were the same. And I think they loved me for that. And they did it with me too. Middle school kids, they're supposed to be so horrible. No, 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 no. They're amazing, amazing kids.
They are, and you just said my favorite. Well, so what you didn't know is that middle school was actually my jam. I was a middle school principal, and I often say you have to be different to be in the middle. Elementary teachers and principals, they tend to be, like, very nice, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think of them as like
Very
festive, and they
gentle.
have little buttons for every season. Like right now, they're probably all wearing heart buttons, and in March they're all going to have like 4-leaf clovers everywhere, and then
Yeah.
April talking about spring. Like they're just, just happy people, right? And then you got
Right.
high school folks that are like, no, you got to
Mhm.
do all the rules and meet. And
Yep,
then you
yep.
got folks in the middle, and we're just a little bit different. But I will
It's
say
in a
one thing.
transition stage.
It is, and their brains aren't fully formed. What I often say is I am the leader of an entire organization and company of brainless individuals, because that's exactly what they are. Their brains aren't fully formed. Their hormones are raging. You're trying to get them to learn and understand, and yet they understand sarcasm, and they start to figure out the use of double entendres and metaphors and similes are like another language, and they're like, yes. I mean, middle school is it's awesome. But I
It is.
will say one thing. There's something that you said that I want to caution people about, because you said you treated kids the same. And I would argue that you probably didn't, because when you're really good at what you do, you treat people as they need to be treated. And there's some people that you can come in and you just need it. Like some babies just need a hug. You're just like, come here. I don't know what the rules are, but you look like you need a hug and I'm gonna give it to you. And some of them you're like, no, go on somewhere because you just need a kick in the pants. Like, go on
Mhm.
with your little bad, but do what you do. And that's all they need. And then there are some that just need a smile and a
Yeah.
high five and a warm meal. I remember decisions I had to make as superintendent. It was one of my moments, as my secretary would say. I would have like these fly off the handle moments, like little things that normal people probably wouldn't pay attention to, but they would drive me nuts. And one
Yes.
of them was when so some of y'all might remember this, that when you go get the school lunch, if you didn't have like the payment for the lunch, they would give you literally 2 pieces of white bread and a piece of cheese in the middle, and they would call it a cheese sandwich. And my thing was, everybody knew that was the kid, that the lunch that belonged to the poor kids, if you will. And so what I did, I was like, we pieces of cheese between bread. What you can ask for is you have to give them something. You can give them a bagel and cream cheese. Now, what would you rather have? 2 pieces of white bread with a piece of cheese in the middle, or a cute little bagel with cream cheese that feels a little bit more upscale? It's the same price, the same thing, but it all is about how you treat people. I could treat them like, 2 pieces of white bread with a piece of cheese in the middle, or I could treat them like, you know what? You're at Starbucks. You just got yourself a bagel. Would you like that toasted, baby? And I went and bought a couple of toasters. I know I wasn't supposed to, and made sure that they could toast their little bagels. This is the difference, that when we talk about treating people with respect, treating them with equity, treating them with love, that's the difference. Do you treat them with a cheese sandwich or a bagel and cream cheese? And I would argue the bagel and cream cheese just says a little bit more, unless you're going to
Every
grill
time.
that cheese. I'm just saying.
Every
it
time.
does indeed. And by the way, we're talking with Dr. Shelley Jones Holt and Rochelle. Her website, if you please, before we go to break.
Go to her website. It is drshelleyspeaks.com. She's got all the information, and we'll talk about it more when we come back. So don't you dare go nowhere.
Abracadabra, here we go. Do you want your child to develop lifelong emotional skills as well as academic ones? We teach kids how to read, how to count, how to behave. But what if we taught them how to understand themselves? Abracadabra by Terry Bean is a gentle reminder for children and adults that emotions aren't something to fix. They're something to listen to through imagination instead of instruction. This beautifully written story helps children feel seen, safe, and understood. It builds emotional awareness, self-trust, and the kindness without screens or pressure. Paired with the companion creativity book, reflection becomes expression. and lessons become lasting tools. If you want to nurture emotional confidence, calm, and creativity, this is where it begins. This isn't screen time. This is connection time. This is storytelling with purpose and a sprinkle of magic. Buy Abracadabra today and give a child tools they can carry for a lifetime. And welcome back to Positive Talk Dance, Dr. Shelley Dance. Yeah, and because there's Rochelle does right there. And
Get it, girl.
and we've got a great show for you today and a very meaningful show. But before we continue, Dr. Shelley, I need to introduce you to somebody that we have grown very fond of, and he's not even in this country. He's in a whole nother country, on a whole nother continent, and he's listening to this show live. Burchelle?
Hi, Samuel again. He says, greetings, elder brother Kevin, younger sister Burchelle, guest author, educator, and consultant, Dr. Shelley Holt. We're listening and watching you live from Kibera Restoring Hope Center, based in the slums of Nairobi, Kenya. Thanks, host Kevin and Burchelle, for highlighting our weekly feeding program to the world. No child goes to bed hungry. God bless you all. Samuel, you too. We love you. Mwah. Thank you for joining in on all of our shows, and make sure you stay for the entirety of this one. You're going to love Dr. Shelley's message.
And
oh my gosh.
You want to say hi?
Right now, say hi, Dr. Shelley.
Hi, Dr. Shelley. No, I'm kidding. Hi, Samuel. You're awesome. That was so sweet. I wish I could see the babies. That is just, oh my gosh. You just touched my whole heart.
You can. As a matter of fact, they recently said, Burchelle, tell her about the graduation they just had.
Oh my gosh, Dr. Shelley, let me tell you, he started an education program, and it was pretty small, but then he had just randomly, it felt like one day just this burst, and they all graduated, and they were dancing together, and they were crying, and they were singing, and they were celebrating, and it was like days long. And you can see all of it on Facebook, on Samuel's page, and also at the Kenya Humanitarian. I'll have to pull that up. I'll get that right, and we'll start sharing that. But I'll have to share some of those photos and videos. He even sends me some on Messenger. It brings me to tears every single time, because when you see people that just, especially the younger community, that comes together and sees themselves as one in all, that's the whole point of what we're trying to do here in the world. And these things that separate us, they really don't even matter, but we're giving them meaning that is unnecessary. Don't you think?
Amen. Yes. And Samuel, please find me online, tag me, friend me. I cannot wait to check out your page and see those beautiful babies, because this is why we do what we do. The whole reason I started my company and I left education in the traditional sense. I left the superintendency and I started my own consulting firm, was because I wanted to, one, be able to spend more time raising my own kids. And like after the pandemic, I'm like, I've given about 25 years of my life to, raising and supporting and teaching and leading other people's children and adults in those systems. I think I've earned an opportunity to be able to be at home and raise my own kids. And just being an entrepreneur is a whole nother world that I do share about and speak about and talk to folks about. Whatever you start with does not have to be your final destination. You can do and be whatever it is you want to be. You can have the life you dream of. Just dream it, and there are people out there that will help you make it a reality. And for each of those babies there, please know that where you are now does not have to be your final destination. You can and will do great things, and you can come on here to some stuff. You can go to Canada. You can go all over the world. The world is your oyster, and we just can't let what's happening right now, which for many it feels very negative and very heavy. We can't let this moment become something that we just allow to to anchor us where we are. Life is fluid and things are going to change, whether, it doesn't matter which direction, things are going to be different. And we have to set ourselves up for that kind of success, which is what we do in our communities through Dr. Shelley Speaks. Is I just kind of bring people together and let's be positive. Let's love on one another. Let's do this thing called life together. We weren't meant to be alone. And I think that that's part of what I learned during COVID, being an introvert, which many people don't think that I am because they see me on stage and they're like, and then I'm an introvert.
Oh, you are not. And by the way, I have to ask you, you have 5 kids of your own. Did you ever lose one or misplace one?
You did. You apparently just lost one. I have 6 kids that I birthed. I have 8 total. I have 2 free gifts of purchase that I have through my husband. And I will tell you this. This is okay. Funny, not funny story, but I actually did lose one once. I couldn't count.
His name wasn't Kevin by chance, was it?
Home Alone.
Kevin!
That part.
That's crazy. My mom lost me and I was the only one.
Right. We left him. We literally left him at home. Kids, putting him in the van. And out of the van, and we got down the street. And I looked around. I'm like, hey, anybody see Jackson? And they were like, he was right. Oh man, we gotta go. And he was standing out in front of the house. Like, what happened? Y'all left me. We sure did, son. So sorry. When I say get your tail in the car, you better make sure that happens.
Oh my God.
I really did lose one of my kids.
You just see the van drive away and you're standing there like,
right?
You guys forgot one.
Like 6. Like, so he's like, really? We really did.
So funny. Oh man, it's those human moments. There's this human moment.
I mean, and that's some of the stuff we talk about in the village. It's like, I'll have people that'll ask, am I a bad mom because I just don't feel like cooking tonight? And I'm like, if you don't throw some water on some ramen and go sit down with you a glass of wine and a good soap opera, you better go home somewhere, because that's fine. I don't want to do that every night, but I'm just saying.
Rochelle, isn't she a kick?
I think I met my future self. I've said that if there's only been certain people that I'm like, for some reason, I really resonate with you differently. But I love that you created your own little army too, and to have all those other experiences, but then to bring it all home. Like, what is that like?
I think that it's a beautiful thing. At first, and I share this somewhat in the book, but also in the communities. COVID showed me a lot, and so you got to remember that I was speaking and doing things. I was a superintendent, and then I finished. And March 13th, the day we went into lockdown, I was actually plane. So I was coming from California back to Detroit, and the world shut down while we were in the air. So I want y'all to think about what this was like, because we didn't get any messages. We're not getting news. We're not getting anything. You had heard little rumblings that there was kind of a flu going around, and I had just finished a conference, and it was just one of those things where I don't know exactly what happened to this day, but when we got on the plane, there were a whole bunch of people in the airport and everything was fine. When by the time we got off the plane in Detroit, the whole world had shut down. And now, first of all, we were scared to death because my husband picks us up. It's like, hurry, you got to get in the car. The world shut down. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't understand what is happening. Right. So my son and I are just like, running, and everybody else, mind you, because we had all just gotten off the plane and all of our relatives are there like, hurry. Well, then we got home, and what it took me about a good 2 weeks to realize is being home with 5 kids, all at home, 2 adults still trying to work. We're all in the education system. So, my husband's working, teaching his class. I'm trying to, teach my classes. All the kids are online. I have a 3-year-old in preschool who's literally on the computer upside down with his feet in the air. I got the teacher texting me going, we can see his feet. I'm like, he's 3, 4. Like, what do you expect? He's there. What else do you want me to do? Right? Just be glad you don't have Play-Doh on your table like I do. Right. And so, what I realized is, and I had to do this fairly quickly, is I had to take the leadership skills that I had learned at Berkeley and SC with all my degrees and apply them to home and like trying to organize your home. So I had to like get schedules together in a different way. I had to assign people roles and delegate to, whoever was, able to take on those roles. I had different lunch times. There were so many things that were different. And I knew I could handle it. I'm like, wait a minute, I got degrees in leadership. I should be able to do this. And so that's part of what you see in the book and in our village is that we talk about all those different aspects of running a household that are very similar to running a business that we don't think of in that way. You do have a finance department. If you think about it, you run your budget, you get money, you have accounts receivable, revenues and expenditures, like all of that is part of a household. We don't think about the fact that we have chores and things to clean as the same as our custodial department that makes sure that, things are restocked and that purchases are made. So you have a purchasing department to make sure you have things that are there. You have to treat people with respect, meaning yourself first, and then connect with others. All of these are skill sets that we develop and we utilize in business, but we don't think of at home. And so when I came home with 5 kids all online, I had to figure it out quick. Otherwise, we were going to get divorced and kill each other. All in the matter of like, I could just see like the police protection would be like, okay, we're here. Are y'all here? And I'll be like, well, officer, see what had happened was, somebody didn't make dinner. Right. And everything went to heck in the handbasket. Right. That's why they're all tied up over here with duct tape on their mouths. Any questions? Right. And so in order to avoid,
do you want to be there too?
Right. My husband right there with him too. They're all sitting, I can see them all. Just unmute yourselves. You're not going to say much, but you can be unmuted. And so what I did was I took those skill sets that I had learned and I applied them to the household. And that became the impetus for what I started teaching people. It's like, look, folks, we can do this. We can manage it. And that's what's helped people deal with differences, in now the work that I do. They're like, oh, treat it similar to a business. Approach it with you wouldn't go to one of your coworkers and be like, right? You would, but we do that to our kids. So it's like, how are you going to approach these situations with love and care and respect, but still with high expectations and organization and structure? And so being able to shift that over has been amazing. The road, I have to say, the ride on this road has been absolutely wonderful because shifting to leading at home is a huge thing.
Congratulations.
And by the way, again, we're talking with Dr. Shelley Jones Holt. And Michelle's gonna give her
so bad. I can't make it up. It's like I've been eating sour candy all day. I'm like, please make me mad, please. But let me rest my face. This is seriously crazy. Everybody, before we go to this break, go to drshelleyspeaks.com. Shelley is Shelley. I love saying that. It's like spell my own name. drshelleyspeaks.com. She's got everything on there. And don't go anywhere because you're going to get to see me getting frustrated by my face and the smiling and much more that we have to talk about. So we'll be right back.
Hey, do you want...
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
Are you looking for your daily dose of inspiration? Stay connected to all your favorite shows, music, and news with the Brushwood Media Network app. From Positive Talk Radio to Greatest Vibes Unplugged and so many more uplifting voices around the world, everything you need is right in one place. It's easy to use, too. Always available and designed to keep you inspired 24 hours a day. Go to brushwoodmedianetwork.com and download the app, and you will always have Brushwood Media available on your smartphone. Download it now and make inspiration and music and conversation part of your everyday. And welcome back to Positive Talk. My name is Kevin McDonald, and And Michelle is right there with her sore face and everything. And Dr. Shelley Holt is our guest. And she is by the way, you can always catch her on Unscripted Politics. She adds a levity and a perspective that just drives one of us, not me, but one of us crazy. And so, Dr. Shelley, welcome back. And we're having a good time. I hope you're having a good time.
I'm having a blast. Kevin, you already know we have a good time together. Brachelle, you are a little angel, and I love it. I believe you're probably about 5 feet of business student. Are you not?
Yep, 100%.
5 feet,
5
one
feet of business,
difference.
baby. We look good. We look good and big on camera, but we are 5 feet tall.
Oh my
I had
gosh.
somebody
I
see
hope
me
your face ends
recently.
up hurting the way my face hurts.
It does, girl. Yes, already. I met somebody who I had been working out with online, and it was funny. Remember how we were all on Zoom and such? Did you
Yes.
have the experience of people that finally met you and go, "Oh," and they look down at you? You're like, "I didn't realize you were that tall either."
Yeah, it's
Big
different in real
personality.
life. It's kind of cool when you meet somebody that you didn't think. But you were just saying about how you tied in everything that you had learned about business and brought it home and the work that you do now. So what is it that you do now?
So right now I have 2 very different lanes of the same business, if that makes sense. So I have my for-profit business, which we've been guiding you to all day, drshelleyspeaks.com. That is where I do a lot of workshops, facilitations, and keynotes. I'm actually an executive strategist. So like my technical job is I'm an executive coach for several CEOs, executive teams of some pretty large companies that, especially during COVID, were trying to figure out how to bring their teams together to make good decisions that included everyone. Folks that were really struggling with some of the divisiveness that's happening in society and did not want to see that enter their companies, because they were smart enough to realize that dividing interest, dividing people's ability to come together is going to divide your revenues. It's going to divide your profits. And so folks that want to see profits want to see people coming together and making good decisions. And so that's what I do. I help people strategize. I help them lead their teams. I help to do team development and just develop decision-making workflows that work for them. Lately, that's involved a lot of shifting and understanding the difference between management and leadership, because during COVID, we had to do a lot of management of tasks, management of projects, management, and figuring out how to do things differently. And some of the people aspects kind of fell to the wayside. Well, now that we are in this post-COVID era, if you will, we have to lead people and lead organizations in a different way. And so I help people transition from management to leadership and really have highly effective teams. That's that one side of my business. And I talk about all the stuff that people are afraid to talk about. I had one guy bring me into his company and he's like, "I just need you to say all the things that a middle-aged white guy can't say." I was like, "Bet, I got you. I could do that in a heartbeat." Right. And not have him get mad at me. I'm like, "Oh, that's fine. They'll be all right."
Yeah.
And so that's
Oh,
what I get
neat.
to do. And I love to do is I get to use my degrees and all of that. Then I have this whole other side of my business, which is actually I'm sitting in one of our retreat facilities now where a lot of my CEOs, especially during COVID, they realized that they hadn't talked about some of these difficult topics with their families. Did you know that some of the highest divorce rates are amongst our executive level professionals? And that's because they work so much and they focus so much on building, a financially secure life for themselves and their families, that they don't nurture their marriages. They don't nurture how they're raising their kids. They're not figuring out how to lead their children differently. I have 6 kids. Yes, they are 6 very different human beings that require 6 very different parts of me, sometimes at the same time. So how do I balance that as a human being and as a mother? And that's the side that my husband and I get to do. He calls it our ministry. And we get to pour into families to help them overcome some of those challenges. So I enjoy bringing families together. Right now, it's been a lot of families that are divided by politics. And so they'll get to come to one of our retreat facilities and we put them to it through an experience that I have yet to have one family leave here not closer together, more understanding of one another, and being able to now go and do life together. So we do family leadership seminars, we do retreats, and we do dancing. We do all. My husband's a yoga instructor, so we have a lot of things going on the nonprofit side. All of it surrounding leadership, where we live, where we learn, and where we earn. And so I love what I do. I have a great team. Now I've been able to expand to invite more of my leadership colleagues to take on some of the work that, I mean, it's great to have so much business that you can't do it all yourself. And this is why now being able to do podcasts and talk to folks, I'm like, you don't have to live in a divided household. You don't have to live in a family or a life that is shaped by whatever is happening outside. We've got to find a way to put a barrier there. And because right now what's happening outside is not very healthy for what we need as human beings. I don't want people losing family members over who the heck is in the White House. And that is something that does not have to happen. So you need to put some boundaries, and there may be some topics y'all can't talk about. And that's okay. Right? Yeah. I mean, my dad, God rest his soul, today is his birthday. I told you, Kevin, I was going to bring that up because my daddy has always been a very center part of my life. And so to do this show on his birthday means a lot. But my dad was very much someone who struggled with people who were different. He was a Black man from whose family originated in the South during a time when white and Black relations weren't exactly, rainbows and giggles, let's just say, right? And so he carried a lot of that. And part of what I believe I'm doing or trying to do in being his legacy is not let those hardened feelings become part of who I am. And they were definitely part of who I am. I'll tell you one story that'll tell you about like encapsulate my dad in his entirety. So my dad is in the hospital. He's literally on his deathbed. And this is right after the Hillary Clinton Trump election, right? And he was watching that news every day in the hospital. I mean, just every day, just mad at everybody. I can't stand, because, he couldn't necessarily vote for Trump, but voting for a woman was just as much a difficulty for him. And finally, he says to me, now, mind you, I've been an activist. I went to Berkeley. He's a former Black Panther. And he says to me, "Damn it, Shelley, I voted for the white woman. What else do you want from me?" And I was like, you know what, Dad? Bet you're right. If that's how far we've come, and that is because that was a huge thing for him. And so I want, our legacy to be one where we embrace and love people for who they are. We embrace some of our differences, and we set boundaries that don't tear families apart. And so that's what I do for a living, if that makes sense.
It does indeed. And by the way, I got to bring these guys in again. Rochelle?
Yes. Hi, everybody. This is on their other side, the rest of their group, Restoring Hope Center. They say good morning. Positive Talk Radio host show Kevin McDonald, Rochelle, and guest Dr. Shelley Holt. Thanks for hosting this inspirational guest, Dr. Shelley. We are listening and watching here live from the Restoring Hope Center, based in the Kibera slums of Nairobi, Kenya, the second largest slums in Africa. Together we are one, and together we are strong. Thank you for listening in, you guys. We love you. Also, they say very inspirational story. God bless you, Dr. Shelley. Great work you're doing. Keep it up. We will work together, Restoring Hope Center, in your ministry. Thanks, Positive Talk Radio Show, for inviting her to the show. So this is what it's all about. And now we've got more that's building. So, Dr. Shelley, what do you think about that?
I think that's awesome. Awesome. It begs the question. I wonder what a slum looks like. I wonder if your slum is like my slum, because I do wonder sometimes what a slum is.
I'll send you the pictures.
Slums in America are like a Taj Mahal compared to what they have to deal with. First of all, they're in Kenya, and they don't have natural water everywhere. I drove a bus with a guy, Dr. Shelley, that was from Kenya, and he said two things. First of all, he said, I could line up 200 women, and for $200 a month, you can have anyone be your wife. And I said, no, thank you. And the other one is, he was the son of a chief, and the women, this is a funny story. The women walked 6 miles every morning with containers to get water for their daily rituals. And the men decided at one point, we're going to help you. We're going to go with you. And the women said, that's our time. Leave us alone. That's our time to gossip about you guys. Leave us alone.
Yep. Amen. Because we don't want y'all, and you're not going to carry as much. You're going to make it more difficult. You're going to whine the whole way. Nope. Stay your little behinds at home. Nope. No. I am all for that. Absolutely not. Because y'all know women are, we cut different. We're different.
Mm-hmm.
We can handle a little bit more. Y'all can't do childbirth. Just saying. You can't handle that. Y'all get a splinter and start going, oh my
Dr.
God.
Shelley once a week just to get my momentum going, just to be a reminder of who I am and how strong and powerful I could be. Dr. Shelley, you are one of the most powerful women I have ever met in my entire life. I'm so glad you, of all people, decided to do something like this, because the story and the background of your life makes it so much more meaningful. And to live that, I couldn't imagine just how amazing that is. So people, we're going to take our last break before I fall in love with Dr. Shelley and take her husband. But until then, go to her website. Go to her website, drshelleyspeaks.com. You can even contact her if you're curious, have questions, and want to learn more on there. And Kevin, please take us out to the next break and get me to stop talking.
And Dr. Shelley, you talked about leadership. I want your opinion on this. Here are some points to ponder from Positive Talk Radio. You know, some say leadership is about getting the work done, about pushing forward, no matter the cost. But what's the cost of a team with no purpose? What if a single act of support, a single moment of genuine grit could change everything? What if leadership was a catalyst? Because true leadership isn't about being in control. It's about empowering others to find their purpose. It's about leading with passion and igniting the fire in everyone around you, creating a culture of teamwork and common purpose. A true leader finds this culture by enthusiastic purpose and team development, making each team member feel empowered to create, improve, and execute their tasks with genuine passion and a strong belief in the company's mission and focus. In other words, lead with purpose. And welcome back to Positive Talk. My name is Kevin McDonald, and Rochelle is right there, and Dr. Shelley Holt. I gotta tell you, I'm just gonna set myself aside and wind you two up and watch you go. But Dr. Shelley, I want your opinion on that piece. What did you think?
I love that piece. And as a whole side note, because y'all know Kevin is my brother from another mother, and we're gonna do a promo for our business right here on the Brushwood Media Network. And I think that this entire concept of leading with purpose is something that is so critical to people. But I think that I would add one piece to it. In order to lead with purpose, you have to know and love yourself for who you authentically are. And that's one of the things that it's taken me. I'm almost 50. Don't worry about how close I am to that 50. That ain't none of your business.
Don't even make sense looking at you. Don't worry about that.
No, I still look 12. I get that all the time. You know, I got carded recently. I was like, I'm sitting there with my 30-year-old daughter going,
I didn't even get carded
really?
at the
And you're
Social
carding
Security
me, of all people?
Yeah.
You know. But anyway, I think that the piece around leadership that we often miss that kind of sometimes keeps us from our purpose is that we feel, and I know I thought this when I first started to be a true leader as well, that leadership means a certain thing. It means that I need to be a certain way. It means I need to dress a certain way. It means I need to speak a certain way. I remember I had fake glasses. I'm old and I need real glasses. But I remember going to Claire's and getting glasses and putting them on my nose like this, because that's what assistant principals and principals look like. Now, mind you, I didn't need the glasses at that time, But that's what I believed. And we put on these personas and these figments of our imagination of what leadership is. And at its core, leadership, you have to know you and love you before you can lead somebody else. And it wasn't until I fully authentically embraced my natural ways. I mean, I remember the first 2 years I was leading schools. I got one of my evaluations said she doesn't smile enough. Can you believe that, knowing me now, right? And that was, now almost 30 years ago. But I remember them saying, well, she doesn't smile much. And my response was like this, mind you, smile. What do you mean you need me to smile? Children are dying because they cannot read. What do we need to smile for? And people were like, oh my goodness, like she's intense, right?
She's intense.
Scaring people left and right. And they'll be like, follow me, I'm leading you. And they're like, no, we were scared of you. We're running from you, lady, right? And it became a piece when I finally could embrace and say, you know what? Yes, I have very high expectations. Yes, I will help you get there. Yes, I am no nonsense, but I'm also going to love you through it, and allowing our true natural selves to show up. And that's one of the things that an executive leadership coach can do with and for you, is help you lead from a place of knowing who you really are. And so with my clients, oftentimes the first thing I do is I just talk to them about, who are you? What was your upbringing? Tell me about yourself, and tell me how that led to your current leadership style. And do you like it? Do you like you as a leader? And oftentimes, by the time they get to me, they're like, I don't like who I am. I don't like how I have to show up. And then I just ask a very simple question. So why are you doing it? And the response is usually I get people that, well, because this is what we're supposed to do. It's what, and it's like, no, but there is no rule book for leadership other than you need to have people follow you. To lead means to serve. Courageous leadership means to serve, pushing through fear. Courageous means to push through fear. Leadership means to serve. So if you're leading courageously, you're pushing through the fears inside, the anxieties, whatever it is, the fear that, I'm Black, I shouldn't do this. I'm white, I can't talk about this because I'm going to get canceled or consequenced. I'm Asian, so I'm supposed to be, great at math. I'm, a woman, so I'm supposed to be ever so sensitive. It's like all the stereotypes that we embrace that end up leading to stress, imposter syndrome, anxiety, all these negative aspects, instead of just being you. And so I would say that the biggest missing piece to that is, in order to lead with purpose, you have to know your own. And once you know your own purpose and you can be authentically yourself, you can lead anything.
And I'll even take it one step further, is once you know your own purpose, then you can explain that purpose and lead with gusto and with driving everybody with the same understanding. Dr. Shelley, when I was in the restaurant business on a Friday night, we had 13 servers, we had 3 bartenders, we had 5, 6 cooks, and we had all these folks. And I would wander around the building saying this: we're going to be busy. We're going to be busy. Everybody get excited. We're going to be busy because we're going to be busy. I was a friggin' general manager. I had assistant managers who would go, oh, God, what's he doing here?
Here he comes.
But the whole idea was, let's have fun. Let's get it excited. And you know what happened? We gave better service. The food came out hot and faster, and everybody had the purpose of taking care of the customer, which then took care of each other and gave us a bigger paycheck. It all worked out hand in hand. And that's so few. And that's why I'm glad you're out there, because so few leaders get that. They still are stuck with the CEO thing on the or the general manager tag on their shirt or whatever it is. Get rid of that. I was going to say something and I have lost the. I'll think about it. So anyway, Rochelle, go ahead.
Dr. Shelley, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, like, they have these, I consider them stereotypes. We have these avatars, if you will, these days of what we think leadership should be. Go back to my glasses, and, the boss should be going, hey, move things along. You weren't supposed to be the guy walking around going, hey, we're going to be busy. Hey, I know you got this. girl, what'd you do yesterday? I know you got that. You need some help with that? Like they believe that showing that humanitarian side of you makes you weak. And my contention is it actually does just the opposite. If you're not authentically who you are in that leadership position, people who are smart can sniff that out in a heartbeat. But when you are yourself, even your flaws, people will accept. Right. I will tell you flat out, I am a East leader. I am a visionary. I am big picture. I have all the ideas. I am not a West, meaning that the details, nope, don't have them. And like if I had to do it, I could, but I hire people to take care of the back end details because I'd have been like, what time are we supposed to be there? What time? We need to have all the logistics. I'll be like, yes, let's have an event. They'll be like, did you order the food? Did you? No, but I got people coming. That's me. And they're all excited. Shirley, did you get anything for this? What you mean? That oh, well, no. Right. But you know yourself. Go ahead.
And Shelley, I remembered it now. The illusion of expectation.
Ooh, yes.
Because a lot of leaders have the illusion of what they are expected to be, expected to do, rather than let's just get the job done and do whatever it takes. And if that means I'm not really proud of this, but I fired an assistant manager one time because I was a Mexican restaurant and there were chips on the floor and we had tables that needed to be bussed. And she told the busboy, could you get the vacuum and clean up these chips on the floor? And there were people in the lobby waiting and there were tables to be bussed. And I said, you need to do that so that they can do their job, so that we can seat these people because they want to have dinner now. And
exactly.
They left shortly thereafter, because that to me, we have got a responsibility to our people and to each other to bring the best. And that's the work that you're doing. And that, by the way, I think is even part of your book, which is Speaking of Race, Where We Live, Learn, and Earn. So bless you for what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. And you're right about it's not only of leadership, it's the power that people get locked into. And let me tell you, when you get in those positions of power, like that Spider-Man quote becomes very real. With great power comes huge responsibility. And when you have that kind of a power and you begin to abuse it or you begin to misuse it in any way, people will stop following you. And they're not going to tell you, I'm going to stop following you. They're just going to do it. And that is probably one of the biggest things that I have to deal with folks is to ask them, like, okay, you're the leader of this organization by title, but who is the real leader? And if it's not you, that's okay. But do you know who it is? And are you working with them and are you working alongside of them? Because, power and leadership, yes, they go hand in hand, but they don't always land in the same human being. And, so what you're talking about is that kind of if I'm so powerful, I'm the power person. I'm not supposed to be cleaning chips off the floor. But if you're a leader, you recognize that I get in where I fit in. And if my team is all busy and there's something that needs to be done, I remember one of the times I was out, I was principal and I was waxing a floor. Now, mind you, I had learned how to wax floors from when I was a teacher. And I knew my custodian had several floors that he had to re-wax because some kids had gotten in there and done some things that they had no business, right? So he had to re-wax those floors. And we had 3 other rooms that we had to get done. And school was starting. I had people coming that night. And so I was like, hey, I got this. And I'm waxing the floor and somebody comes in, oh my gosh, Dr. Holt, you shouldn't be doing that. And I'm like, well, who should? Are you going to do it? Well, no, that's so-and-so's job. I'm like, so-and-so's doing their job. If you're not going to help, it sounds like you're getting in the way. Either pick up a mop or get out the way, one or the other. And literally they're like, after about 5 minutes, because now they come out with a mop. I'm like, well, they come on, right? Because it's like one of those things where you can either be the power player. Yes, from a power standpoint, was that my job? No, but leading that offering excellent customer service to our students and our families is. And if that means that my behind needs to go wax this floor right now before I give a speech, you're darn sure I'm gonna put my tennis shoes on, wrap this hair up, and let's do this. And I was on a stage 15 minutes later. You wouldn't have known that, except for my hands were all ashy because I was up there like doing this, like, sorry guys, my hands look a little something or other. But these are the things that leaders do.
Yeah.
Dr. Shelley, I am so sorry, but we've run out of time. Brachelle, should we have her back, or does she hurt your face too much?
I love my face being sore for all the good reasons. Dr. Shelley, specifically for you. You have to come back. We have so much more to talk about. Kevin gets to talk to you all the time, but I don't. So I think that we need more time. But if you've been listening to the show and you've enjoyed it and maybe hopefully learned something, and you have maybe more questions or want to find out more or share it with somebody who could use the help, visit drshelleyspeaks.com. That is SHELLEY, drshelleyspeaks.com. She's got everything on her website, including ways to contact her. You can find her on social medias. And also, if you want a different perspective, you can hear her on the show she does with Kevin that is also on Brushwood Media in my Independence Report.
Unscripted politics.
My Independence Report. But Kevin, thank you for making this possible. Dr. Shelley, thank you beyond what words can say for being here and doing the work that you do. We truly love you.
I appreciate it. And if you need a keynote or a facilitator for your next conference, workshop, if you're just interested in doing something and doing life differently, leading, loving people differently, to apologize for who you are as you walk in your leadership, I really want to hear from you. And more importantly, I would love for you to join our village. We have created our own private community online so that you don't have to be in Facebook or anything. You can come into our community. I give tips, strategies. You can ask questions. One of the recent questions I have was from a mom who, unfortunately, her son called somebody the N-word at school, and she wasn't sure as a white woman how to deal with that. And the love and care and concern and beautiful responses she received from our community, my heart was overjoyed. She didn't get shamed or blamed or told she was a bad mom. She got loved on. And that's what we need right now, is just a little bit more love.
Amen.
And as usual, Dr. Shelley, we've gone over time because that's what we do on this show and Unscripted Politics. And by the way, if you want a speaker who is going to engage your audience and, I don't know, even make them laugh a little bit, certainly make them think. If you don't want any of that, don't hire Dr. Shelley. But if you do want some of that, then I would suggest that you pick up the phone and give her a call, or go to her website, which is drshelleyspeaks.com, and you can find out all about her and how she can benefit your company. And if you're a CEO that is still a little stuffed shirt, get a little relaxed, take your tie off, and call Dr. Shelley. Brachelle, thank you so much for being here. And Dr. Shelley Jones Holt, her website again, Dr. Brachelle.
Yes, Dr. Shelley's website is drshelleyspeaks.com. Go there and just check it out. It can impact everyone from mother at home to a new business owner and an elite person who realizes they need some help. So thank you again, Dr. Shelley, incessantly for being who you are. And thank you to everybody who joins us in on Positive Talk Radio. We absolutely love you, and we hope that you've taken something from this to make your life a little bit better.
And I'm so sorry that we had to laugh so much during this show. And
so annoying. We're so annoying.
I know. Thank you for being part of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where stories inspire and voices remind us of what truly matters. May today's conversation give you hope, courage, and a reason to keep moving forward. And just remember, till next time, be kind to one another, because each other's all we've got.